Hi everyone, welcome back to my trilogy videos talking about the original Crash Bandicoot PS1 Trilogy. We're of course on the final game of the trilogy, Crash 3 Warped. The other two episodes talking about the first two games are up for you to enjoy with your eyes and your chins. So please, 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 even though you don't really need much knowledge of the previous games to understand what's going on here, just watch the first two episodes. Go on. I'll be your friend. But if you're all caught up to this point, or you just watch the first two episodes again because you love me, shall we finish this? Yo, hi lads, Dan here. Welcome back to my celebration of Crash Bandicoot 4. It's About Time's Reveal, where we talk about the original Crash Bandicoot PS1 Trilogy. What else? And today we have reached the final game of the trilogy, the final stretch of our journey, if you will. We are going to be talking about Crash Bandicoot 3. So we're still doing that, are we? Lovely. Anyway, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, the third and final main game of the PS1 trilogy, disregarding the two spin-offs, CTR and Crash Bash! Oh god, get it away from me! This game was released 1 year and 1 month after the last game, QURBAT Crash 2, the sequel-dequel, keeping up the 13-month trend that the other games had. I always found the almost annual release schedule for this pretty mad. One of my favourite trilogies of all time was completed in just over 3 years. It's great. Now, I should probably mention that this is the first video game I ever played, so I am deeply nostalgic for it, but it doesn't matter. Let's just get into the game, shall we? The story of this game picks up straight after the events of QURBAT Crash 2, the sequel-dequel. Assuming you got full 100% completion, I got our mate Fetus Man to shoot Cortex out of orbit. This makes the debris of the space station crash land into a temple, which releases Aku Aku's evil brother, Uka, who, as it turns out, has been the one giving Cortex his orders from his prison since the beginning. Naturally, since Cortex is, well, a bit of a pillock and obviously hasn't taken over the world yet, Uka isn't exactly a very happy chappy with him, and I don't know, just something about seeing Cortex on his knees begging for forgiveness, it's brilliant. Uka decides to forgive Cortex seeing as he released him, and summons the Master of Time, Entropy, to use his Time Twister machine to collect crystals from different eras of time. After hearing of Uka's freeing, Aku enlists the help of Crash and Coco to use the very same Time Twister machine, travel through time, collect all the crystals for the bad guys, and taking down Cortex and Uka once and for all. Now, something I've always found really cool about this game is that they decided to give Aku the hit point system, the means of protection, which just so happens to be a sentient plank of wood, a fully fleshed out character, complete with proper voice acting, which isn't just... What have I got? Rest in peace, Mel Winkler. You'll always be the best Aku in my books. When it comes to the gameplay itself, it's basically Crash 2 again. It has the same moveset except for a couple of minor tweaks like adjusted mid-air control, making certain jumps a lot easier to pull off, and the belly flop move has a quicker wind-up time and a larger area of effect, making it a lot more satisfying to pull off. But if you're looking for any major improvements in the gameplay, the only particular noticeable one in my opinion is the fact that bouncy cage crates now only take 5 jumps to destroy and not 10, which, honest to god, I'm surprised they didn't do earlier. 5 bounces and 2 Wumpas per bounce just feels right, especially seeing as throughout the events of the first 2 games you've bounced off enough of these crates you're practically raw. But I mean, ordinarily, about now I would go into what's been improved since the last game. I did this last time after all. But nothing's particularly been improved apart from those 3 little quality of life improvements I talked about. Naughty Dog knew what stuck. They knew what wasn't broken, so they didn't fix it. I wish I could say the same about another group of developers who worked on a Crash game. But travesties aside, let's get to the proper meat of this, shall we? What's new? Well, a fairly notable thing that's been added to the new game is, well, more vehicles. There were a few vehicles in the last game. There was the jetpack, the baby polar bear, and something I didn't bring up last time, the jetboard, which was, whew, it's pretty good, wasn't it? But this opened the floodgates, if you will, to more vehicles to be added in Crash 3. And most of them are absolutely fantastic. So, let's have a look at those. The most notable vehicle in this game, though, is Crash driving a motorbike. Wait, no, sorry. motorcycle in the 1950s. These levels take the form of a race where you need to finish in first place to earn the crystal, whilst of course it's smashing all the boxes on your way to the finish if you want the gem as well. I know that a lot of people don't really like these levels very much because of the speed to turning ratio being well off, but remember, these races, they're not Mario Kart, they're not CTR, so if you treat them as their own things, you'll learn to enjoy them, except for the Area 51 level.
That one can go get fucked.
And also there are these plane levels in World War I where you need to shoot down a small set of blimps, or, well, larger planes, and boxes strapped to balloons, whilst, of course, avoiding being shot down yourself. They needed to downscale Crash's model whilst piloting the plane, so now he looks like a bear trap wearing aviators, I guess. But I think these levels are a lot of fun. I'm even a fan of the secret plane level, Rings of Power, which is a race. I thought that one was brilliant. As for the other new stage types, this game introduces side-scrolling swimming stages, and I see these levels getting a lot of hate, but you know what? I actually think they're a lot of fun. They offer a new layer of challenge and are a pretty decent change of pace. They even have some new exclusive enemies like pufferfish, sharks, and eels. It really is great stuff. Now, in a first time for the series, this game actually allows you to play as Coco in her own respective stages. There are no platforming stages with her. Yet. So this time it's Coco's turn to take the reins and ride a tiger over the Great Wall of China while it's under construction. Personally, I think these levels are on par with the Crash 1 hog riding stages when it comes to level design at least, and not because of suspicious eyebrow movements, because you're running over a very narrow space with plenty of obstacles everywhere. Coco's also been left in charge of these new jet ski levels through pirate-infested seas, and these, not gonna lie, they're pretty damn fun. Zipping across water with tight and responsive controls, which generally feels like you're skimming across the surface of the water, jumping over ramps, diving, it's great. And yes, Crash now does the crash dance at will, because it's amazing you can't have too many people doing the crash dance at once. Oh yeah, and Crash has a yo-yo now, because it's the 90s, isn't it? You know what I mean? So, if Crash could do it, so can I. I've got a yo-yo here, I don't know where it came from, I just found it because I'm magic and YouTube, so yeah, let's give it a try. Become a yo-yo connoisseur, if you will. So let's give it a go, shall we? Oh. Let's move it back. Now what?
I'll make it go back up.
Oh. Yeah, I did it. When it comes to the gameplay, however, every time you beat a boss in this game in a way that kind of reminds me of Mega Man, Crash could attain a few new powers and abilities to add a new layer of challenge to the gameplay or to make stages easier. These abilities include the Super Belly Flop, which has a much larger area of effect, the Double Jump, hazard to guess what that one does, there's the Death Tornado Spin, which makes you spin faster, for longer, there's the Fruit Bazooka, which lets you fire Wumpa Fruit at boxes and enemies. It was a great idea on paper, but it only has a couple of uses and it's very situational, so I never really found myself using it very much. And finally, for beating the final boss, you can get your hands on the Crash Dash, a sprint button, basically, allowing you to increase your movement speed. I mean, it seems useless, doesn't it? But if you revisit an older stage you've already completed, and you could see a strange clock. The Crash Dash is supposed to be used with the brand new time trials, and with them comes a brand new collectible needed for full completion, the time trial Rayllex. They come in 3 different types. Sapphire, which is basically, well done, you tried, get good. Gold relics, which are a bit harder to get than Sapphire, but they are actually required to beat the game and get the secret final gem. And finally, there are the Platinum relics. These are the big boys. These are the ones you want. You don't even really get anything special for getting all the Platinums and essentially perfecting every level in the game. You just get the sudden realization that you just spent hours and hours of your life trying to get the best times in levels of a 20-year-old game, when you could just do anything else, play any other game. Spend time with your family, but no, you spent days and days upon end losing your sanity as you perfect every jump, every spin, every aku sacrifice to fulfill your own selfish desires. Or you can just get the bragging rights. Now, of course, it's a new Crash game. There's obviously going to be some new bosses, and, well, would you know it? There's no pathetic ones this time. That's a first, isn't it? The first boss is actually up against Tiny Tiger once again. in a coliseum. You need to avoid his onslaught of lions. Why he doesn't use tigers is beyond me. Oh yeah, and you can just stand in this corner to make it all insultingly easy. It's great. Then avoid his jumping attacks, and then smack him one. That's really all you need to do. It's certainly better than his previous fight, seeing as you actually get to hit him this time. Next up is easily my personal favourite.
Good day, mates. Dingo-Dile's the name.
Oh my god, this guy is fantastic. You need to avoid his flamethrower attacks, which actually destroys the crystal shield he has, and you need to make enough for him to get into the shield to land a hit, but you also need to time it right so you can get out of the shield before he blows up. This is a fantastic boss, and I love it. The next boss is none other than Entropy himself.
Now you're on my time, you little scum.
And yeah, just like the last two, the fight's pretty decent. You need to avoid and jump over his constantly speeding up attacks, then head over the platforms he spawns and take your shot. It's simple enough, it really is great stuff. The fight against the returning engine is okay. Unlike all the other fights, this time you control over Coco in a spaceship on the moon in a kind of a Star Fox-esque ship battle. I know that people call this fight the best one in the game, but I think it's okay. It does have multiple phases and can be difficult to high hell if you don't grasp it straight away. It's not my personal favourite, but I can see why people enjoy it. And the final boss is against who else but the tyrannical Ned Cortex. This is easily the best Cortex fight in the entire trilogy. Not that it exactly had much competition. May I remind you of Crash 2's final battle. But all in all, it's pretty cool. It's a two-way fight between Aku Aku and Uka Uka and Crash and Cortex, all happening at the same time. And because Aku Aku is, well, a little bit occupied at this particular moment, if you get hit once, that's it. You're dead. Try again. Avoid the mines, smack Cortex into the space glory hole 3 times, and well done. You've won.
Defeated again? This is not fair. Maybe I should retire to a nice big beach with a nice big drink and a woman with nice big bags of ice for my head.
Now, from the way I've talked about this game, it's pretty obvious to see this is easily my favourite game in the entire trilogy. I know that people think that QURBAT Crash 2, the sequel Dequel, is the best one in the trilogy, but nah. Personally, I'll always prefer this one. So, instead of sitting here fanboying about it for another couple of minutes, how about I just sum up the trilogy? It's pretty obvious to see why people think that they are PlayStation classics. PlayStation royalty, if you will. I mean, Crash wasn't considered the PlayStation mascot for no reason, you know. Taking the fundamentals of a 2D platformer and putting them in a 3D space, it is absolutely fantastic, and something that other people have tried to do since and completely failed at. But alas, Naughty Dog made the original 4 games, but Universal still owned the rights to the characters, so from this point onwards, Crash would get handed over to new developers every so often, some of them making good games, just as many making absolutely atrocious ones. But we'll cover some more of the escapades of the meddling marsupial sometime in the future. But for now, I think it's about time we close the book on the original trilogy of
Crash Bandicoot.
Huh? But to close things off, I think we could just round everything up by saying that the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy on the PS1 and even the N-Sane trilogy remakes, they are pretty N-Sane. What? But yeah, there you go. That is the entire Crash trilogy summed up and reviewed, I guess, in 3 videos. And oh my god, I love these games. I absolutely adore these games. If you haven't played these before, you're honestly doing yourself a disservice by not. They're platforming classics. And you can get the N-Sane trilogy for pretty cheap now, so you might want to check them out. They are pretty good. But yeah, here's to Crash 4 being great, hopefully. If not, well, he's probably going to die on us again, isn't he? But yeah, that's all I got left for today, so I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the near future. And something I real quick want to tack on to the end. You've probably noticed that over the past 4 videos, starting with my Oddworld video up to now, yeah, I've been doing a lot more like retrospective kind of reviews kind of things, and I really enjoy doing these kinds of videos, if I'm honest. I think I'm going to keep on doing more of these videos in the future. That doesn't mean my normal video format of multiple games per video and a certain theme, I'm not going to stop doing those. They're not gone whatsoever. Something feels a bit more right with me making these kind of videos instead of those ones, so I'm probably going to move on to do more of those kinds of videos. There's plenty of games that I can cover on different consoles, you know, back on the PS1, the N64, the Wii, the GameCube, the DS, anything. There's a whole world out there of games just waiting to be explored, and I look forward to jumping in there. Hopefully you guys will enjoy jumping in with me. So yeah, sorry for talking your ear off there. Just saying that I'm probably going to do a lot more retrospectives on my channel, so look forward to those. And yeah, there you go. So that's all I got left today. So I thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video of mine. Take care.